Welcome, everybody, to the Jim Master Show Live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. How's everybody doing today? It is a pleasure to see all your smiley faces. Thanks for being with us. If you are not having a good day, which sometimes does happen, life can be crazy sometimes. Well, you know, this is the place for some light, love, and levity, and our famous Levity. What is that about? Again, I know for those of you who've heard me describe it several times on our show, you're probably like, we know what Levity is, Jim, because we're part of your Levity squad. You're Mr. Levity. This is Levity Hall. Your guests we welcome into Levity family. Well, it's for those who are watching for the first time or saying, why does that guy keep saying Levity? That's because in the summertime of last year, some 400 episodes ago, this is actually episode 461. 461 episodes of JMS Live that we have done just about 7 days a week since we launched the show a year and 3-4 months ago, which is quite amazing. Entertainment, lifestyle, talk, conversations, warm, inviting, freestyle with guests from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, stage, animation, science and nature, health and wellness. Just about everything, all aspects of life, celebrity friends hopping on, and great guests, amazing viewers who watch live from all around the world. And in the summertime last year, I said the show has a lot of light, love, and levity. I said love and levity too fast, and boom, out came the word levity. And then the viewers fell in love with it, all of you. So you now dubbed me Mr. Levity, and you guys are part of our Levity squad, viewers who watch all the time, who comment, who share the links, and who celebrate life with all of us. This show has a lot of entertainment, lots of levity, and also inspiring, poignant moments too, lots of surprises. Sometimes you just never know, since we're live here, what can happen. Anything can happen. And with Wi-Fi, it usually does. Good to see everybody. Nice to have you here. I'm your host, Jim Masters. I've been doing this kind of work for a long time in television, radio, stage, and film, nationally, regionally, locally, as a host, journalist, actor, writer, producer, stage MC, voiceover artist, producer, writer, all of it. And I love turning these lights on and joining you in the evenings like we do live. And then for those of you who watch us in the archives, we thank you as well, because I realize that not everybody has an opportunity to watch us when the show is live, which is usually 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And then sometimes we do earlier shows on the weekends. We'll do 2 shows when we have guests in other time zones. But thanks for being here, whether you're here live or you're here watching this show, these episodes later on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. We say hello to all the lovities. We welcome you to the Jim Masters Show Live. If this is your first time, we welcome you as well. Be sure and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's the channel you're watching right now, Jim Masters TV. And make sure you click that little bell icon you see. That bell icon is what allows you to get notifications so you never miss a live episode of the Jim Masters Show Live, or you also never miss some of those surprise pop-up shows that we do, which people love. That's where I, your host, and all of you, we chat together about all kinds of cool things going on in the world, life, and our individual lives as well. And I think it's really special. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, share our YouTube channel, tell everybody about it. It's quite a unique place that we have created, a wonderful vibe, bringing back old school talk shows and variety shows like Dick Cavett and Johnny Carson, some of the best, and combining it with a modern twist, modern vibe of today. If you're enjoying this episode or any of our episodes, we'd love it if you give it a thumbs up like on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, and leave a comment for us as well on the episode on YouTube. Share the levity, tell your friends about this series, JMS, and also have an opportunity to share this link with all of your friends, family, neighbors, and colleagues. And don't forget, during the live chat, we've got a new exclusive feature here on the Jim Master Show Live, Super Chat, Super Emojis, Super Stickers, Super Thanks. That's where it actually helps support our series, which we do and put a lot of time and effort into, but also it allows us to highlight and celebrate your comment with special colors. Your comment rises to the top, and also I personally thank you on the air, too, for your comment. Today on the show, we welcome renowned voice actor, voice artist, as well as author Harlan Rector, who is live and direct from beautiful northern Florida. I know there's quite a few of you who watch us from all around the world, including the Sunshine State. He's made his home in Florida. I have to tell you, you have heard his voice just about everywhere. Now, doing voice work myself, I love and pay homage to and have great respect for those in this industry, television, radio, film, all of it, who have sort of paved the way, who worked, at stations, production companies, whether it's voice or hosting or journalism, acting, whatever it is, writers, producers, all of it. We're all, cogs in the wheel, providing entertainment, information, and all kinds of things for society. And somebody like Harlan is a veteran, a legend in the voiceover industry. Voiceover, what is that? Those are those voices that you hear where you don't necessarily see the person, but you hear them saying tonight on Eyewitness News, or you hear the station IDs, or you hear the film trailers, the commercials, promos, narrations, where you hear these voices of all kinds, male and female. Harlan Rector, one of the best. Also, he does caricatures too. And he has penned an extraordinary book, which we are going to be talking about, which I know a lot of you have been very excited about. And is a couple of them actually in a series, I Matter, Finding Meaning in Your Life at Any Age. Harlan, as I mentioned, is a veteran in the business. He's really extraordinary at what he does. And I actually want to give you a little sample. We've got a little bit of a sample here. This is some of his commercials. You will recognize this voice almost immediately. Let's take a listen and enjoy. This is Harlan Rector.
For 16 years, Grace McQueen has slipped on her size 6 red suede cowboy boots and headed off to do the Texas two-step. Unfortunately, Grace has 2 left feet.
Sorry.
Fortunately, she eats Quaker oatmeal. It's low in saturated fat and cholesterol-free, so it can fit into the kind of diet that may help reduce the risk of heart disease. So Grace could have a lot more dancing ahead of her.
Ouch.
Which is a good thing.
Sorry.
Because Grace needs all the practice she can get. Spring is in the air. Well, this year, spring just isn't what it used to be. Because this year, Tavist 1 in its full prescription strength is available without a prescription. Tavist 1 milligram, 12 hours, and this spring, no prescription. 100 miles. That's how much farther you can travel on the highway in a Chevy half-ton pickup than you can in a Ford. Listen to Prego.
Notice how Prego pours out deliciously thick and rich with chunks of tomato and onions.
Now Ragu.
Ragu pours out so much faster with no chunks of tomato, no pieces of onion, no bits of herbs to see.
So which would you choose?
Prego?
Or Ragu.
Prego. It's in there. You have a cough. You ignore it. You need Vicks Formula 44, the one to take when you can't take it anymore. It all begins with mountain-grown beans, fresh brewed, then crystallized for a deep, dark, rich coffee, just waiting to become your welcome to the day. There's no other coffee that kicks off the miller's morning like Folgers Crystals.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Don't let morning breath ruin a good morning. Get Scope. Scope has 2 powerful ingredients to kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath. Scope, the best thing, first thing in the morning.
I told you, you've heard that voice, and that is just the short list of not only commercials, but, and maybe we'll have some free moments to throw some other things in that he's done, but narrations, movie trailers, promos, and so much more. He's really, truly the best in the business. Let's welcome him live and direct from his home in Florida, Harlan Rector. Harlan, thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you, Jim. Wow, I had a good time listening to that.
Yeah, that guy's got some pipes, doesn't he?
Well, God gave me the voice, and I had nothing to do with it. Thank you.
That's right. That's right. You've just used those gifts and those talents in so many beautiful ways. How did you first get started? Let's talk a little bit about, because you have so many wonderful things to talk about, and I'm very excited to have you on the show. I've always revered your talent, and I honor you. Again, you're one of those in our industry who sort of paved the way for everybody else coming through. You've loved everything you've done, and you're passionate about it. Early on for you growing up, what were some of those early entrees into the industry and opportunities that came your way that inspired you to do this?
Well, in second grade, the teacher asked everybody what they wanted to be when they grew up. The boys said they either wanted to be soldiers, it was beginning of the war, or cowboys. And I fearlessly stepped up and said, I'm going to be an artist. And I didn't have another thought in my entire life. That's all I ever thought about. And I became an art director in some of the largest ad agencies in the country. I had a wonderful career doing that. And I did these caricatures when I was working in Detroit. And there was a radio station across the street doing an interview show every day for an hour at lunch. And I sat in and drew caricatures of the celebrities. And they signed, these are original signed caricatures of, that's Wayne Newton. There he is. That's Wayne Newton. There was Jose Feliciano. There's Jesse Owens, for crying out loud, the athlete from the 39 Olympics in Berlin. Clint Eastwood in 1971 and 72. It was just fun for me to do this. And but anyway, I left that agency and moved to California and was in 3 different ad agencies there. And one day I was doing a demo we were doing a thing for Honda motorcycles, and we didn't want to give the client just a script to read. So I said, well, I'll go into a studio and just read it to give them some idea, but I'd never done it before. And I went in the studio and I started reading this commercial, and the top voiceover woman, Joni Gerber, happened to be just finishing a session that she was in talking to the engineer. When I started reading the commercial, she stopped and looked, and I thought, what, did I do something wrong or what?
Yeah, right.
Jim, I was being discovered. And afterwards she came out and she said, how long have you been in the business? And I said, well, I'm an art director. I'm not in your business. She said, you should be. Get out of advertising, come to my voiceover workshop. I'll show you how to do this, and you have the voice, and you're going to be wonderful. And she gave me my start. I got an agent and started doing commercials, and that the agency I was with, the ad agency, they fired me, and so I was on my own for the first time. So I said, God, you gave me this voice. You're going to have to control my career because I don't know what I'm doing. And it's been just a great, great ride. And moved to New York and lived there 20 years doing commercials and movie trailers, and that's my story.
That's a wonderful story as well. I mean, to have an opportunity to do something you love with this God-given talent is truly amazing. For recognition for our audience, and I'm sure they spotted some of those commercials that we played there. What are some of the other more recognizable projects that you've had an opportunity to be a part of, whether they are, tied to television, film, promos, commercials, things that really stand out for you, Harlan?
Well, two things. One time a producer at A&E asked if I'd do a promo for him. And I did. And he said, I'm going to have another one in a week or two. And I did another one. And he said, the next time we do one, my boss wants to meet you because we're going to start what's called the History Channel. And he's looking for a signature voice for the History Channel. And it's between you and another guy. And I said, whoa, well, that's great. Who's the other guy? And he said, James Earl Jones. And I said, well, why don't you just give it to him? I can't be the voice of God. He's the one that does that. And he said, well, the boss wants to meet you anyway. So he did. And a week after that, they gave the job to me. And I went back to my agent and I said, guess who's the voice of the History Channel? And my agent, smarter than me, said, don't be so smug. His agent wanted too much money. And so I accepted that.
Yeah.
So I was that for 4 years, the first 4 years on the air. And the other thing that stands out are the movie trailers that I did after I even left New York. Moved back to St. Louis with my wife, and an agent from New York called and said, "Will you do movie trailers for me from your home studio?" And I said, "You bet." And so for years I did just tons of and that was so great because I could do them in my pajamas. Nobody cared. And that was that just prolonged my career. That because I thought when I left New York, I was just going to go play golf in St. Louis.
And that's it. Yeah.
Those two things stand out.
Those are fantastic. And as a matter of fact, doing a little research and a little digging, which when I use my journalistic background, and I love to do, I believe we have some things here. Yeah, this one is, and again, you mentioned the History Channel and more. These are some of those promos, and I'd love for our audience to hear more of your extraordinary voice and versatility. Again, people will, I'm sure our audience, our levities will recognize your voice again and some of these incredible promos and projects you've had an opportunity to work on with networks and so much more. Here is Harlan Rector again doing his thing. These are promos now for shows and stations and networks and more. Enjoy.
Tom Brokaw grew up in the land of hard work and long winters, the Great Plains. You have to be tough to survive there. And in New York City, where he became one of the best journalists on television.
I've always been interested in how the world works and explaining that to people out there so that they can use that information to better their own lives.
Maybe that's why more and more people are turning to NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. NBC News, America's news leader. Welcome to Sunday night on the History Channel, the place where battles are won or lost, where heroes struggle and honor is put to the test. Now the stories of weapons that changed history. Tales of the Gun is next. This is Guts and Glory Sunday. The weather is a story, best explained by people who understand it. So get the story from the experts. The Weather Channel, keeping you ahead of the storm. The year is 1940. And as World War II rages on, a young man will fall in love with the woman of his dreams.
I'll never forget their screams.
The highly acclaimed 5-hour miniseries, Heroes, Friends Turn Foe by Love and War. Tonight on Channel 2 News, troubleshooter Roseanne Coletti reveals the sneaky things some stores are doing to sell you swatches, the watches everyone wants. It'll tick you off. Tonight at 11 on Channel 2 News.
Nothing like da 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 da. That, I didn't realize that was you because I love promos. I used to, I've worked in promotion and television, radio too, and I love promotion. And I've heard your voice. That was WCBS Channel 2 in New York, Channel 2 News. And your voice was used for a long time with WCBS, huh?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, I wish I could remember that it was yesterday, but it wasn't.
That I'll give you a little insider TV trivia. You probably know this. If not, that news theme at the very end of that clip we just played of some of your network and station promos, I mentioned it a couple of times on this audience, to this audience and elsewhere, that news theme, da 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 da, which you always would hear on Channel 2 in New York and Chicago and mainly the CBS owned stations. That song, that theme, that news theme, which your wonderful voice laid some wonderful vocal tones to, That was written by a very famous, he's no longer with us, from Chicago, jingle writer, trumpet player, and jazz musician named Dick Marks, M-A-R-X. And he used to do all kinds of themes for newscasts and production companies and jingles and so much more. And he was a musician himself. And WBBM TV, Channel 2 in Chicago, commissioned him to write a news theme for their Channel 2 News in Chicago. And so he wrote that theme in the 70s, which has subsequently been used on most of the CBS stations, and then I think some other stations later years. And even if it's airing in LA or Chicago or New York or anywhere else, there's an actual song that goes with that theme with actual words. And that is actually, I love Chicago, Chicago, my home. And his son, Richard Marks, is the well-known singer and songwriter who still performs today. He had that 80s hit, Wherever You Go, I'll Be Right Here Waiting for You. That is Dick Marks' son. So that's the derivation of that news theme that your fabulous voice has been used on for years. It's a small world, Harlan.
That is a small world, and he got paid a lot for that.
Yes, because it's still used in various
Right.
iterations. You hear that in many different iterations. And you know, that hearing that provides clarity for me, because I always sometimes would confuse your voice with the promos with another terrific, he's no longer with us, but another wonderful voice actor, Hal Douglas. You know, Hal Douglas is, yeah, he was wonderful.
Very well.
Yeah, he was wonderful as well. You know, coming up in the industry, who were some of the folks that you admired, that inspired you along the way, Harlan?
Well, there were, when I went to New York in 1980, there were great voiceover people and guys who have been in the business a long time. There people like the voice of Smuckers.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh, his name now escapes me.
Wendy's yeah.
Right. He was also on a couple of television series. There's just wonderful people. A good friend of mine was Harry Gauss, who was also a Broadway star.
Yes.
A lot of people in the voiceover.
Avery.
Right.
Yeah.
They were all from either stage or theater or radio.
Ernie Anderson on ABC.
Yeah, Ernie was a legend. He really was.
Yeah, and, Ernie. Yeah.
I know Ernie quite well. He one time did when I was doing a voiceover workshop, he came in and sort of led the whole workshop one night, and did a lot of critiquing and so forth. And he had an incredible voice, but he had a glass of what I thought was water, and I picked up his glass or something. He said, "Don't touch that. That's gin." And so
that
I guess that would be Ernie. I guess that's how he got his voice. But,
the eyewitness news, when he would say eyewitness news.
Oh, there were some wonderful people, and a guy, and also a guy who is no longer with us, but he had this terrific bass voice, and it gravelly, and it smoked. Well, he smoked non-filtered Camels all of his life.
That's the thing. The smoking actually, unfortunately, is not healthy, but yet some of the best voices were smokers. Yeah.
Right. And he was the voice that said on radio in the 30s, 40s, look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
That was him.
And,
Wow.
and he was still around when I was there. And
Sally
was great.
Kellerman. She's terrific. Sally Kellerman.
It was
Lauren
great to
Bacall
be-
did voices. Lauren,
Right.
yeah.
She had such a wonderful smoky voice herself.
Lauren Bacall, yeah.
It's great for selling women's cosmetics and perfume. And so,
yeah.
so at any rate, that was a wonderful time in my life. And since I moved back down here from St. Louis, God has had me working on things for Him, and
which is beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And so I don't have time to play golf anymore, and it's just as well. However, there is. I'll tell you a quick story. I hadn't played for about 5 or 6 months. And I published this book about these caricatures. I had 65 of these caricatures in a book that I did.
And you have the book there, right?
Yes, that one on this radio show, on this radio program, as they were being interviewed. It's called Once Upon a Corner in Detroit. And I put these in the book, and I published the book, and a friend helped me write all of the biographies, because there's a biography for every picture. And so he said, well, when you get these books, will you give the first one, sign the first one to my daughter? So I did. I took it over to his house on a Sunday evening. And he said, this is great. I really thank you. What's the name of the next book you're going to write? I said, are you kidding?
Right.
I'm not going to write any books. I'm going to play golf. I'm
going to play golf. I'm in Florida.
So that was a Sunday. And on Tuesday, 3 friends asked me to play 9 holes. And on the 7th hole, I got a hole in 1. And yes. Jim, I'm telling you, I don't believe in coincidences. And I thought there's something is happening.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did this.
And the 7th hole, lucky 7.
Exactly. And so the rest of the week went by, and Saturday morning, my daughter who lives with us and my wife were both sleeping, and I got up early, and I don't know why I said this, because I don't usually say, I think I'll go in and pray. And I went in the living room, sat on the couch, and I started praying. And all I did was say, God, what do you want me to do? And Jim, this will floor you. It floored me. I didn't hear God speaking, but I heard something that made me say, I think I'll write a book called I Matter. And before I could get up and dance, of course, it wouldn't have been a very good one at my age, but I had worked out what that book is going to be. And it was going to have 6 chapters. Each chapter was going to be a different point in the life of a person. And these stories were going to be written by people who submitted them to us about some positive thing that happened in their life that changed their life, maybe changed the life of someone else, or gave it a new direction. And that was all worked out in my head. And I know where it didn't come from me, but it sure came out.
Yeah.
So I called my friend Ed, and I said, Ed, you asked about here's the title for the new book. It's going to be called I Matter. And without even a thought, he said, I'll help you do that. Would you entertain a subtitle?
Yeah.
And he offered Finding Meaning in Your Life at Any Age. And I thought, whoa, that is incredible.
It really is. And
So
this is inspired by your own spiritual awakening and acceptance of God in your life, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And realizing that, I can't do anything on my own. And I sort of knew that before, but I just wouldn't admit it, I guess. But we published that, and it was very popular. And I chose the picture of the Sistine ceiling of God's hand almost touching the hand of Adam, representing humanity. And so we published the second one, and I illustrated it because I couldn't use that that same thing. It's still God's hand, but it's a African American woman's hands with bright fingernail polish, and the thought balloon coming to her says, "I matter too," in bright pink. And I did that because there's other people who matter, and there's an essay in there from one of the friend of my daughters from high school. She is a young entrepreneur. She wrote an incredible essay about her mother, and it inspired me to put her hand on the cover. And now we're on the third book, and almost ready to publish it. And it is "I Still Matter," and we're now up to 86 pages, and we're going to wait another month, see if we can't get more people to contribute. They are just incredible stories about how God works in people's lives.
How do you find the people? How are the people coming to you and sharing their stories? And before you answer that, we have somebody watching, and we welcome all the Lovities. They're all commenting and they're welcoming you. And like Ann Wozniak, who's in Jacksonville, says we all need help from above. And Sherry Larson in Kansas says, what a wonderful story. All we need to do is listen to those voices in our heads sometimes. Ray Noble is here. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live, Ray. 62 years and counting, friends with Harlan. That's a solid friendship. Tess LaBella is here. Welcome, Tess. She says, way to go, Harlan. Good for you. Bringing back great memories. Sherry says, absolutely love your voice. Merlin's in Ontario, Canada. Wow, good for you, Harlan. Jane is watching live to our series here. She's in Sweden. She welcomes you, Harlan, as well. Mary Bishop's in Pine Island, Florida. Hello, Harlan. Welcome. And says, hello, Harlan, from the South Side Bay Meadows area of Jacksonville. Looking forward to seeing you as well. Welcome, Harlan. We are glad you are here. These are our Lovities, the Lovity viewers of the Jim
Overwhelmed. This is incredible.
Yeah. Helen Delago says hello to Harlan from the Delagos at Innis. Welcome, Helen, to the Jim Masters Show Live. I have to say I'm very partial to that name, Helen, because that's my mother's name, and it's a beautiful name. Thank you very much. I appreciate your kind words, Tess LaBella. Really beautiful to see you here. And everybody that is tuned in, just all these great comments coming in from everybody here. Kathy Short is here in Cleveland. She's welcoming you and welcoming everybody. There she is here. There's Ann, and there's Kathy in Cleveland, Ohio. And this is part of our faithful Lovity squad here. Alessandra is here from North Carolina. Welcome, Harlan, to your new Lovity family. Remember, you were talking about how sometimes things just happen in life, and that happened when I said the word Lovity last year, when I was trying to say the show has light, love, and levity, and especially during the pandemic and all, people really needed to hear that. And it's part of who I am. I'd like to inspire, I like to empower in all the work that I do with this show, but also my professional work in TV and radio and just in life. And I kept saying that when I said that word Lovity, it was a mistake. You know, it's a Freudian slip. I was supposed to say love and levity, and I said Lovity. And everybody said to me, Jim, stop saying it was an accident. It wasn't an accident. It was meant to be. You were supposed, like you on the seventh hole there, me saying Lovity, I guess it was just supposed to happen. It's the vibe. It was meant. And so now it's part of what we do. Marlon in Ontario says, don't forget, Harlan, you are now a Lovity. Now, with all these accolades and all these wonderful things you've done in your life, how does it feel to reach the pinnacle of it all, being a Lovity on the Jim Masters Show Live? Yeah, I bet your feet are tingling.
They are, but you can't see them. It's wonderful. It is. I'm knocked out by all of this. I can't believe that these people have nothing else better to do than to watch me tonight. So thank you.
That is funny. They are the Lovities. They're here every night. They are here every night. We love them. Yeah.
I want to tell your Lovities and your audience that you are a hero of mine, because there's something I can't do, and that's stand up and talk without a script in my hand. But to do what you do, interview people, and you've done this for years, it's just wonderful. I wish I could do that. But
I appreciate
that's
that.
your job, and you do a great job of it. Thank you very much.
Coming from you, Harlan, that means quite a bit. Now my feet are tingling, but you can't tell because you can't see them either. So
Good.
this book is really a gift to so many people. It's the original I Matter, an uplifting series of 4 books with the essays written by you, with, again, marvelous individuals like multi-Grammy winner and gospel music icon Stephen Curtis Chapman, legendary screen actress Dee Wallace. She's fabulous. She was a guest on our show, the Jim Master Show, just a few weeks ago, and she is fantastic. And also your son, who we should get on the show eventually as well too, actor and comedian Jeff Rector.
Yeah, he does. He does a lot more than I do. He's the president of the Burbank International Film Festival.
Oh, he is? I didn't know that.
He took that over 8 years ago, and
I'd love to have him on the show. Yeah.
That'd be great.
I didn't realize that. Yeah,
he can talk without a script. So
that's wonderful. What I love about this too, I mean, and we're covering a lot of different things here, your extraordinary voiceover career, your wonderful artistry, the work in advertising, your artistry as a caricaturist, and so much more. But this book, I Matter, finding meaning, and that series of books, finding meaning in your life at any age, it's really important, because I think what's nice about it is it's written by people in all stages of life, all walks of life too. And they're very open and authentic about their lives too. They don't hold back. They share. They're authentic. They're real. And the timing of all of this, I think, is beautiful because of what we've been going through in the last 18 months or so. We've experienced something that they're going to be reading about in perpetuity in the history books years from now. It's been extraordinary. It's been, I keep saying on the show, the only people that could have scripted what we've been experiencing the last several, 18 months or so globally and here in the United States, the only people that could have ever scripted something like this probably would be maybe George Lucas, Rod Serling, Steven Spielberg, or Stephen King, just because of the unusual nature of everything. But a lot of people have been reflecting during this great pause on their lives. And do I matter? And why am I here? What's my purpose? How can I inspire people? A lot of people right now are making major job changes. They're rearranging their lives, their relationships as a result of the pandemic, this time that we've had of reflection. And I'm somebody that always reflects all the time. Anytime that I'm involved in anything, any experiences, anything I do, I always like to leave room after it to breathe, savor it, relish in it, learn from it, and then move on to the next thing. I'm not always next. I need time to process, absorb, and feel it. And a lot of people now have had that big moment in their life to do that. So I think the timing of what you're saying with this book series couldn't have been more ideal, because a lot of people are asking themselves, do I matter? What am I going to do next in my next chapters of life after everything we've been going through?
And that first book came out right smack dab in the middle of COVID. And I guess it's not the best time to do a book, but that's, timing is not everything. Timing is sometimes works with you, and that was great. And so I hope that people will read these books, because they are inspirational. Ed Nicholas and I, who co-authored these books, we just love to read these when they come into our computer, and they say, hey, would you consider this one?
Yeah.
Oh boy. it's wonderful. So, and Dee Wallace, I knew her a long time ago and used her in a commercial back in the 70s.
Did you?
Yeah, and when I suggested her to my son, he said, "Well, she's a good friend of mine. I'll see that she does it." And so that's how stories come. And we're still getting. If anybody out there has a story that is a positive thing that happened that might have changed your life or just impacted someone else, please send it to us. We would love to have it. So
there are moments that are life-changing in our lives, and I've shared it a couple of times, not really to many, but I've shared something that happened to me only about a year and a half ago when I was on a television shoot in Las Vegas, Nevada. And actually, we flew from the East Coast to Las Vegas, and I was tasked with this news program in New York that I co-host television news magazine show and radio series with somebody that you've worked with, who has been my colleague for, almost 20 years, Doug Llewellyn, who hosts the People's Court series. And I was sent out to Pahrump, Nevada, an hour west of Las Vegas, to interview this renowned oil painter who had been doing beautiful work and still does. And she's made her home in Nevada, in Pahrump. And I never heard of Pahrump before. Real interesting, funky, very cool desert town west of Las Vegas. And after the shoot was over, the television shoot, the news interview, I still had a lot of time left. And I was driving around with a rental car. The camera crew we used came from Los Angeles as opposed to New York because it was closer for them to get to Nevada. So we used that crew. They had to go back to LA because they had a film shoot in the morning to go to. And we said all of our goodbyes. We went to lunch and then everybody wrapped. And I still had like the whole day and some of the next morning left to explore the area. And I love to explore places that I've never been to. So I had this rental car and I'm driving through Pahrump, Nevada, looking at the area, and it's very rugged and raw and beautiful and historic. And every turn I take with this rental vehicle kept bringing me to the entrance of Death Valley. And I'm like, Death Valley, why is this car, every turn I take, why am I always at the entrance of Death Valley? I mean, it's not even a topic I've always enjoyed talking about. And what am I doing? So, and this is, like 2 years ago in August in Nevada and desert heat. So I end up at the entrance multiple times, which is just a sign with an arrow and that long road that you see in television shows and movies that goes on forever and can go to who knows where, and so mysterious. And so I took the car in. Something pushed me to go in to a place I would never have thought to just drive alone in a rental car in August, without family and friends, without anybody knowing I'm going into Death Valley, with no supplies and charged up cell phones. And again, I'm in a rental car, so it's not even like it's a car I'm familiar with other than the make and model. I don't know if the engine is going to overheat or what's going to happen. So normally, if you're going to go into Death Valley and places like that, you're going to have all the preparations and you're going to be planning it, sort of scripting it, and you're going to tell people. Something pushed me in. I started driving in, and I have to tell you, Harlan, that within the first 20 minutes, it was very beautiful and raw and real and, desert and the whole bit. But the first 20 minutes, and people have said I should share the story more. I should do a little movie on it. I should write a book, whatever it is. And I've been sharing it more and more because it's been life-changing and very impactful. And I'm very visual, so that probably added to it. And that was that within the first 20 minutes of driving into Death Valley, I felt extreme guilt. And people are like, what are you talking about? You're in the Death Valley desert. I mean, how could you feel guilt? What's there to be guilty for and about? I said, the guilt that I felt that was totally self-imposed was that I was not sharing this monumental situation of driving in Death Valley. I'm a communicator. I'm a host. I'm a unifier. I'm somebody who likes to create situations where we're all there and we're all feeling the same feelings. Holidays, movie theaters, we're all watching the same movie. We're all feeling the same emotions at the same time. So I love communal experiences. This was anything but. This is me in a rental car driving alone through Death Valley in the summer desert heat of August without anybody on the planet knowing I'm even doing this, with all the risk involved and everything else. And I felt the guilt that I wasn't sharing it with loved ones and friends, that they were not in the car seeing what I was seeing, feeling what I was feeling, and experiencing what I was experiencing. So I said, maybe I should turn this car back and I'll come back one day with those loved ones and friends, and we'll share this monumental experience together. We'll see all these things for the first time together. I'll get to hear all their oohs and ahs, and I will be facilitating that experience for them. The joy will be something I'm presenting to them. So you'll probably within seconds say, I get it, Jim. I know what you're talking about. There were 3 significant energies that I truly felt very strong as I'm driving into Death Valley, feeling this guilt that I'm not sharing this place that I put on a pedestal, Death Valley. It's like Grand Canyon. It's like the Statue of Liberty. It's like, the Leaning Tower of Pisa or something. When you go, you're going to go with others and you're going to experience this together. So this was a singular situation. So I felt these tremendous energies, 3 of them, all at the same time, presenting a question to me. The energies I felt were divine, planet Earth, and Mother Nature. The 3 things that are really in charge. We think we are, but Earth, Mother Nature, divine, they're really running the ship. We're in their house. We're the guests. So it was as if they were presenting a question to me. And the question was, Jim, you have an option here. You can turn the car back like you're thinking. You can turn the car back and you can go back to the hotel and you can just wait for the airplane to come in Las Vegas and fly back east tomorrow. Drive to Vegas airport and turn in the rental car and fly back east and come back one day. If you ever do come back here, come back one day to experience this with the loved ones and friends. Or you can keep going without the loved ones and friends, without everything planned and scripted and people knowing that you're doing this. You can keep going and see what happens. We're not going to tell you. You have to keep going. If we were to take a picture right now, the only things that would be seen are you, the car, and the desert. That's it. So you got a choice, Jim. So as I'm driving, I'm thinking about that, and I choose to keep going. And as I kept going, it was very, very liberating. The self-imposed guilt of not sharing this experience with the loved ones, the family, the friends, not giving them this experience, not bouncing off their joy and their energy and their oohs and ahs and smiles, and having them seeing the extraordinary vistas and rainbows and ruggedness of the, realization that I'm on a planet because everything is stripped. It's dirt, it's raw, it's hot. It couldn't have been a city. It couldn't have been the ocean, which I love here on the East Coast. I grew up near the ocean in the Northeast. So the ocean is a Zen place for me. It couldn't have been a bustling city or a beautiful forest. It had to be stripped, raw, hot, desert earth for me to get these feelings with risk involved, without the family and friends, and driving in. As I was driving in, Harlan, this self-imposed weight of guilt that I wasn't experiencing this with the family and friends was lifting, and it became a singular experience. And I drove in and I drove all the way through, and there's much more to it, but to condense it a little bit, drove all the way back because it was, the night was coming and the car has to get back, and I have the flight in the morning back east. But people ask me, okay, Jim, well, what an amazing story. And I'm sure there's more to it. And there is, but briefly just tell us what are some of the things that, what did that do for you? What did you get out of doing that? And I said 3 major things that have stuck with me ever since. The first is there will be things in your life, experiences, moments that come at you where you are the only one in the room at that time. And that's an experience that is a gift. And you can turn the car away and go in the other direction, or you can recognize it, appreciate it, and say to yourself, this is meant for me. And that's okay that it's meant for me. That the family and friends and buddies and everybody else, they don't have to be in the car for you to experience it, because this is happening right now. You couldn't get your family and friends to Nevada quick enough to experience this with you. So it's a gift, and you can either refuse it or you can take it and run with it. The second thing, so there will be experiences in your life where you're the only one standing there. I can't tell you how many times, Harlan, I've driven on the Massachusetts Turnpike, and I'm the one in the car that sees the shooting star, and the other family members and friends happen to be looking out the window in a different direction, or they're sleeping in the back seat. But I'm the one that saw the shooting star and constantly seeing that. And I'm like, did you see that? No, I was looking the other way. Did you see that? No, I was sleeping. And I'm the one who always sees it. So I'm realizing there will be moments that are yours, and that's good. Second is that, and this was a hard one to learn, there will be times when I'm on an airplane where I never liked hearing, in the event of an emergency, the oxygen masks will drop. Put the mask on yourself first before you help somebody else. Now, I was always raised, help thy fellow man, run to the aid of others, make sure everybody else has what they need, care for them first before you grab this, yours. Give them the slice of cake first on your birthday, give their slices first, and then you have your slice. Even when people tell me, Jim, it's your birthday, have the slice first. I'm like, no, you take what you want. So now I realize that when I'm on an airplane and in other parts of life, you do have to put the mask on yourself first and get the oxygen before you can give oxygen to others. And the third thing that was very paramount through all of this was, and again, all of this by driving alone in Death Valley, which was unplanned after a TV shoot. The third thing was that the world is going to continue to spin on its axis, whether or not I'm always rescuing it from itself all the time, whether I'm always putting out everybody's fires, I'm always, making sure everybody has everything they need and they're good and they're set. The world is still going to spin. People are going to figure things out, even if I'm not always there with my bucket of water to put out their fire. And there's times I have to put out my smoldering fires first, then run over with the bucket of water to help others. Those 3 major life-changing things, which gave me a deeper perspective. One of my friends is composer David Friedman, and he wrote a lot of the music for Aladdin, but he also is involved in this wonderful thing called the Thought Exchange, and he lives in Connecticut. And he told me what you were experiencing, Jim, was you were in touch with self. You're always around people. You're always providing for people. You're always inspiring and encouraging others and lifting others and caring for others. And you're always spending time with family and friends. And this was a moment where it was just you and those energies you were feeling, the divine, the earth's energy, the pull of the earth and Mother Nature around you. And I say, well, how come why couldn't have this happened when I was 20 years old or 25 or any of those ages? And everybody has said, because when at that entrance of Death Valley, you were offered a gift and you probably back then would have refused it, or maybe not recognized it, or just turned away from it. But you lived life, you've experienced life, you have had all these different experiences in your life, and it was time. It was time for you to drive alone through Death Valley in that rental car with all that risk and everything else to experience what you experienced, because then you can take that it only enhances who you are, and you can take that and share that with others. So you might not be putting the oxygen mask on everybody else's face. You got to put it on yours first. But through what you're doing, you're helping people at a deeper level. I'm sure all of this makes sense to you, doesn't it?
Thank you for the next story that's going to come into our book, because that is a wonderful story. If you can keep it anywhere between 800 and 2,400 words,
yeah,
we'd love to have it.
I appreciate that. That would be beautiful. Whenever I tell that story, people react in ways that one of the things they always say to me, Harlan, is, you know what, Jim, the way you describe this story with such passion, I feel like I was in the car with you. I didn't have to be in the car with you, physically in the car with you, to feel what you're describing here. And that's beautiful that people really can connect in that way. And
one thing about this book too, Jim, is at the end of every chapter, there are a couple of blank pages for the reader to jot down their own experience, maybe their positive thing that happened in their life. And they have six or seven opportunities to do that after every chapter. And if they did that at the end of reading the book and writing the book, there would be their biography. And it's another twist on self-help books.
Yes,
that I think is a wonderful thing. So
absolutely, yes.
We look forward to getting your essay.
I would love to include that in there. I appreciate that very much. Writing this and sharing this as you do, and hearing these stories from others, how is it inspiring you, Harlan? How is it empowering you to have all of these folks that want to, be a part of that, but you're the one who is sort of, they're the passengers on the train, but you're the conductor of the train, facilitating all this, which is a very beautiful thing. How is it impacting your life? What are some of the things that it's doing for you?
Well, in the first book, I wrote something about myself when I was just 4 years old. And it was, I didn't know this. My mother used to tell me this story, but when my grandfather died, I was 4 years old. And to this day, I know the inside of the John L. Ziegenheim Funeral Home in South St. Louis, because all my mother's relatives and everybody else was always there. And we didn't have babysitters. They took my brother and I everywhere they went. So when her father died, we went to the funeral home. And I sort of made the best of all of that by standing at the front door. And when everybody come in, I'd say, if you're here to see my grandfather, he's in parlor A. And I called that making lemonade. Just making, when you're handed a lemon, make lemonade out of it. And I used that. I didn't realize it, but I used that throughout my life. So when I started to write that, I couldn't stop. And then I wrote something in another chapter and then another chapter. And I'm embarrassing myself because I'm not supposed to be doing that. It's for everybody else. But there was plenty of other stories. So when you say, how has it impacted me? It's made me more aware of what I ever did in my life. And I don't mind sharing the good parts with people.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It really is extraordinary. And have you had a chance through it all to get on the golf course? Because you have this whole new life and all this wonderful inspiration.
Not since the hole-in-one. Once you're at the mountaintop, you don't.
Why?
Right. So the only thing I'm doing besides this is years ago, I was inspired to write lyrics to songs, and I'd never done that before. They were songs that had to be sung by people who were close to Jesus during his 3-year ministry on earth. People like Mary Magdalene, Mary, his mother, John the Baptist. But I started writing lyrics to be sung by people like Barabbas, the thief, who was released to the crowd instead of Jesus, or Judas. And I didn't know why I was doing this.
Yeah.
And after I'd written about 14 of these lyrics, I started writing the book that they would be in a musical, because I thought this would be a great thing to put in musical.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept on writing and did this. And I found a guy who wanted to write all the music for these lyrics. And we played it in 2 theater venues in Missouri. And it was great. But I was not satisfied with that. And so I threw out some songs, I wrote new ones and made it more fun, made it more religiously poking fun at everybody, including ourselves, and changed the title to A Taste of Heaven. And it's now at a point where, and I just met this wonderful composer named Steve Margoshes. He wrote all the music for Fame.
Oh,
That musical about the high school for the performing arts.
Yes. Debbie Allen was on that, I think, in Broadway.
Exactly.
Too. Yeah.
But he and I have just finished 5 demo songs for this, and I'm trying to see if I can interest somebody into making a full-length feature out of it.
Wow.
Which is something, again, that I've never done before. So there are a lot of prayers a lot of kneeling I'm doing to see that this works.
A couple of people wanted to know if you actually play the piano that's behind you there, that beautiful piano.
Well, I do, but it's for my own amazement. I mean, amusement.
Both amazement and amusement.
My wife taught me how to do all of the chords, the guitar chords that are on sheet music, and how to relate those to a 3-finger chords years ago when we were going together. And so I play mostly fake songs. I can read the note of the melody with one finger, and then do a chord with my left hand, and but I never do it for anybody but myself.
So you play by ear?
Well, no, I can read the music. I just can't read it very well. And, I should have paid attention to my piano lessons. But when I was younger and I took lessons in St. Louis, I had a great teacher who was a stride piano player. He was just incredible.
Yeah.
And my mother would give me $15 to go for a lesson. I'd give him the $15 and I'd say, Bill, just play for me. And I'd sit there forever.
Yeah.
And when I'd go home and my mom asked, how was the lesson? Oh, it's wonderful today, Mom. I was such a terrible liar because I didn't learn what I should have learned. But it's I leave the piano playing to people like Steve Margoshes. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you play instruments?
Yes, the guitar, and I studied violin in school when I was a kid, and piano by ear. I can come up with anything. And one of the first songs that of course, everybody knows Chopsticks, but one of my Aunt Dorothy and Uncle Fred, my mother's brother, and her sister-in-law, and my aunt comes from Austria, from Vienna, but they have a home. They live in Massachusetts, northern Massachusetts, towards New Hampshire, and we go up there all the time. And and in their dining room is this beautiful, like yours, this beautiful piano sitting there. And I would always go to it. I would always just be lured by that beautiful piano. Aunt Dorothy and Uncle Fred have. And I just go in there and I say, can I go in? You know, because it's in the dining room and it's a beautiful dining room. Can I go into all this fine china from Austria? I mean, I don't want to knock anything over, break anything. These dolls and all these things that she has, beautiful things, dishware and all this, paintings. Can I go in and, you know, just toy with it, play with it? And, you know, since I was a kid, I was always able to go in and play with it. So what I was smart enough to do, and again, ever the broadcaster, ever the reporter, ever the person who likes to preserve and capture moments, I already had my Panasonic cassette recorder, the one I used to run around the house with a little microphone, playing reporter and interviewing the relatives and things of that nature, and sometimes catching some of the jokes the adults were telling that I wasn't supposed to hear. And now I play. Do you remember this joke you guys told back on that day at birthday parties? And I'll whip these cassette tapes out. And one of them is me at like 11 years old on that piano in Massachusetts, learning, self-teaching. And the first song was Heart and Soul. Da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na. So I just figured out how to play that song by ear. And then the second one was which is perfect for piano, the All in the Family theme. Da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. And so those were the first two that I learned by ear on Uncle Fred and Aunt Dorothy's piano in Massachusetts.
Good for you. Good for you. If you say you played the guitar, do you know who taught guitar at this little music store when I played piano?
No.
Mel Bay.
Oh, wow.
Mel
Really?
Bay, and anyone who's ever played the guitar has bought Mel Bay's books.
Yes.
And
yes.
he actually taught in that was in the 40s, the early 40s.
Incredible.
And he must have been a gazillionaire, because I don't think anybody ever sold more books than Mel Bay.
He did. Probably sold as many books as Ron Perpeal did with Mr. Microphone and the Pocket Fisherman and all of those. Remember him? He just passed 2 weeks ago, Ron Perpeal.
Oh, wow.
Did you know that? He was Mr. Infomercial, Mr. Gadget. And he started, I think, in New York, and then was in Chicago, and his father was in the sort of product development business. And then he took to it, and he used to do the infomercials on television when he was like in his early 20s on TV. And he was such a great communicator and great speaker that everything just took off. And then Ronco was created, as we know, and we would always see all of those gadgets and the rotisseries and all these things that Ronco was known for, which was amazing. Yeah, he just passed 2 weeks ago. And CBS, actually, I love CBS Sunday Morning. Great program. The one that was originally hosted by Charles Kuralt and then Charles Osgood, and now Jane Pauley does a wonderful job. And they did a nice feature on his life. I want to show you, we do have some other lovelies watching, my friend.
Wow.
Hi, Jim and Dad, from your daughter, Dana, and wife, Joan. God bless.
In the other room.
They're in the other room and making sure. And Dana, we would love it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Marsha Lyon, who's a dear friend, actually I've known her for years, and she's up in Massachusetts. She used to live in Connecticut. She was a public television volunteer, as I mentioned to you. I've been affiliated with PBS for years, still am. She would come in and answer phones and take pledges during the membership drives on PBS. She goes, sometimes when you get older, talking about I Matter, you feel like you are invisible. It sounds like your books can really be helpful with that feeling. Do you hear that? Sometimes people, in our society now, what's new, whether it's people or gadgets, what's new is old in 5 minutes. Things used to have staying power. Ideas had staying power. The new shirt you bought had staying power. Now everything is, if you don't have the new iPhone 480 plus, you're not with it. So she's expressing about how, I guess, as time marches on, you can almost feel pushed to the side and like you're invisible, like society isn't reflecting you anymore.
That's exactly right. And in our second book, I Matter Too, we've added a seventh chapter, and it's what's beyond retirement. What is there to life after that? And which is interesting, and we've had some wonderful essays in that chapter, by people who express their own experiences. It's wonderful.
Yeah. You know, when you have an opportunity to hear from people like that, and thank you, Marsha, for, you know, sharing that. And so many of you open, actually, Tesla Bella, in listening to our conversation, she's in South Florida. She said she was in tears, being moved by the Death Valley story, but also your experiences as well. She goes, what a talented, wonderful man you are, Harlan. And I agree as well. What are some of the things, you know, you have a loving family and, you know, a wonderful career. You've been able to do so many things that speak to who you are, and you've been able to express these God-given talents in so many different ways, and have worked on things that are tremendous legacy building. What are those things that continue to inspire and motivate you, Harlan, when you look at the sum of it all and the continuation of the Harlan Rector story?
Well, what inspires me most are the projects that God has me working on. And for a long time, I didn't know why I was writing these lyrics. Of all the people in the world who are lyricists, hundreds of thousands of people can write a better lyric about somebody than I do. I can. Why me? And it really bothered me for a long time, until I realized, I don't know if I read it somewhere or God just gave me the thought, God doesn't use perfect people for anything. Well, first of all, there aren't any. He uses people who probably need it more than the people they're writing about. And so I was comfortable knowing that I'm just like everybody else. I have sinful things in my life. I don't mean to be a downer by saying that, but there are things that everybody has to confront about themselves. And so I do it gratefully, gladfully, to do whatever God puts in my plate, because it's I don't know how you would say it, but it's comforting for me to know that I might be helping somebody.
Yeah.
And in the same time helping myself.
Yeah.
And your story about Death Valley is a wonderful complete story about that too. You have to know you're helping yourself before you can help anyone.
Yeah.
And,
yes. And when you're, it like, still when I go on the airplanes, and I hear the flight attendants say, okay, now in the event of the emergency, the mask will drop, put it on you first. I have to admit, Harlan, about 10% of me still does go, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to make sure that he or she next to you is not struggling and they're good. And then whatever's left, I'll take it. And that it would be great if we all did that. And that way of thinking, help thy fellow man and run to the aid of others. But now I realize, and so many people, experts, friends, so many different people have said, no, Jim, I know that it's difficult for you to do that, because I used to think it was selfish. It was egotistical. It was greedy for me to grab that mask and put it on me first and then help the next person. I would want to help the next person first and then do me. But you got to do you. we all have to, you have to put it on you first, and I have to put it on me. And now if I have it on me and Harlan is sitting next to me, and he's struggling, I'm going to help Harlan. I'm going to make sure what can I do? Is you okay? Is the strap too tight or whatever? I'm not going to just sit there and let you struggle or wait for somebody to come out of the crew cabin to help you. I'm going to be right there, roll up my sleeves to make sure you've got what you need. That's just something that happens to me. I've been in many situations where people have dropped on the floor in front of me and other urgent things have happened. I'm the person that when I come into the crazy television and radio stations, studios, broadcast studios, and everything's on fire and everybody's yelling in chaos, and I come in and they're like, oh my God, Jim's here. Oh, he's going to make us laugh. He's not going to ask for anything. And he's going to roll up the sleeves and help us. And he's going to de-amp the fires that are happening. But you have to put out your own too from time to time.
Well, I couldn't know how to be on your show if it was up to me. Sitting across from me is a friend, is one of the pastors at our church, Darren. And without Darren, I wouldn't be on your show because I wouldn't know the first thing about how to do this.
The technology part of it, yeah.
Exactly. I grew up with radio.
Yes.
And I haven't gone much beyond that. So we all have to have a Darren helping us.
Yes, exactly right. Yes, and we thank Pastor Darren across from you for helping. You've been blessed twice tonight.
Exactly. And I appreciate very much this opportunity, Jim, to talk to you and to talk to your people.
Yes.
I don't usually talk about myself. My daughter would disagree. I try not to, and so I'm pleased that you could draw this out to me. Thank you.
I was just about to say, you didn't talk about yourself. I drew it out of you, which I love to do in my slick and smooth way without anybody realizing I'm doing it. Try to create a warm, welcoming, safe place. Again, like a conversation Dick Cavett would have had.
That is a gift, Jim. That is a gift that you have, and that's wonderful.
Well, I appreciate that, Harlan. You really are amazing, and I'm in awe of all of your work and your talent. Talent in so many different areas of life, and then having this opportunity to really share your experiences in your life and understand what it's all about, and this spiritual awakening and acceptance of God in your life. I would say that the Death Valley story was life-changing, and a spiritual awakening or deepening was already there. I was always of that ilk, but it became deeper and more solidified. I will tell you one thing before we go. Sometimes as a result of that, where you're sort of liberated from self-imposed guilt of the fact that I didn't have the family and friends to share that event with, that monumental event. I created a monumental event of going to Death Valley. And then coming back, understanding that there will be experiences that are just for me, and it's not selfish, that you should put the mask on you first. That's not selfish. And that the world will continue to spin on its axis, whether I'm always running to aid and care for. And because I put the mask on me first and then run to help right away to help the others. And because I'm doing me a little bit more, and still, again, always helping everybody, at the flip of a switch, but making sure I have my I's dotted and my T's crossed first, and then running. I wouldn't say that every single person who's used to me putting me to the side and running to them first has liked that. There have been a couple, not many, but one or two that sort of fell off the cliff because I'm not saving them all the time and rescuing them and propping them up and dusting them off all the time, because I have to do that for myself sometimes. So they sort of just floated away. And people have said, well, that's why they were hanging around, because you were always dusting them off and propping them up and throwing a lifeline and always rescuing all the time. But what it has done, Harlan, is it's brought in all of this energy and all of this beauty from a wealth of all these different people who are like, Jim, I love your presence. I love your aura. I love your energy. I want you at our party. I want to collaborate with you. I want to create with you. I want you to be here. I want to feel your energy. And that has exploded. So many people have been saying that they want me in the room. They want me there. They want to feel that connection. This show is a result of, some of that. We've done 461 episodes, and I threw this together a year and 4 months ago with a schedule that's already busy in television, radio, and it's been a blessing to do this and having the opportunity to have folks like you as guests, extraordinary. But there have been a couple of people that just sort of disappeared because I wasn't, there in a split second because I had something I had to do first and then would run over to be there. But it has welcomed a whole wealth of new and even more authentic, deeper energy, levity, as we call it here on the show, that has really shocked and surprised me in beautiful ways.
Well, just look at the people that responded to this show. I'm overwhelmed by that. And thanks to you, you welcome it and you encourage it. And if you didn't encourage it, people wouldn't do it.
Right.
So,
yeah, I think that you hit it on the head. You hit it on the head. Tesla Bella in Florida says, tonight is such a special evening of such honest conversation. So inspiring. Thank you, Tess. Sherry Larson in Kansas. Thank you, Harlan. It's so good to put a face with that wonderful voice. Now, every time you hear that voice, folks, you're going to know.
Yeah, we never look like what we sound like.
No, I mean, you look like you could have been on the CBS Evening News. You've got a wonderful look.
No, being on camera would spook me. My agent would send me out on an on-camera audition, and I said, "Don't ever do this to me."
You were better by the microphone versus the camera. Yeah.
I couldn't make my mark and memorize a line and have the right shirt on and be shaved, and no, I couldn't do that.
So instead of good night, Chet, and good night, David, it could have been good night, Chet, and good night, Harlan. Chet Huntley. Mary Bishop in Florida says, what a wonderful conversation. That was so inspiring. God bless you and yours, Harlan. Thank you, Mary in Pine Island, Florida. And Ann in Jacksonville says, such an inspiring evening this has been. Thank you, Harlan, for sharing with us. Tess says, God bless you both. And thank you, Harlan and Jim, for this incredible, warm, loving conversation. And Marsha Lyon in Massachusetts says, an analogy from Anne Morrow Lindbergh is that your life is like a pitcher of water. You give of yourself freely, but if you don't take time to refill, you will go dry. And that is so true. That is so true. And Alessandra says, we love listening. I want to show you, there was one other sidekick that is here with me. He's sort of like a Rock of Gibraltar. He played God in the movies, and I usually bring him out towards the end of the episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. He just wants to send good wishes as well, and he thought you knocked it out of the park tonight, Harlan. George Burns is with us tonight.
Yeah, he was a wonderful God.
Wasn't he?
I grew up with Burns and Allen and Jack Benny and
It's got the cigar and everything. Yeah,
thank you very much.
He loved it. There was a doll that my Aunt Lily and my mother's sister in Connecticut collected dolls, and it was a limited edition. When he turned 100, they had a limited amount of those made, and she collected those types of things, and it got passed down to me, and was really beautiful. Marsha asks, and this is very important, where can I purchase your books? Are they on Amazon and Barnes and Noble?
Barnes and Noble, yes. On the internet. I don't think you can go in the Barnes and Noble store.
No.
But you can certainly purchase any one of those Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Thank you very much.
And there's a total, again, of how many books that are available? There's this one here.
There's the I Matter. There's I Matter 2, soon to be I Still Matter. And the first one is Once Upon a Corner in Detroit.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see that one. All of them. They're really magnificent. And so go to Amazon, folks, and BarnesandNoble.com, and Harlan Rector, Rector, the name. You can find the books there. They are worth adding to your collection, and great for gifts as well. Good wishes. You are looking great. Regards to your family from Helen Delago. Thank you for joining us, Helen, as well. I toast you, my friend. I hope we get a chance to meet in person. We're always driving down or flying down to Florida to see our family, and you're not far, actually, from where some of our family is there on the upper northeast coast.
I would love it. Just you have my number, I hope. And
yeah,
I would love that. Sure. Call me.
Thanks to the pastor and to the family that are being very quiet in the other room.
I know. I thought they were asleep, but apparently.
Nah, Dad's on TV. I wish you nothing but continued joy and blessing in your life. And I really hope, Harlan, that this show met whatever expectation you had and that you enjoyed the time with me as much as I certainly have with you.
Beyond all expectation. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Now, as I say to all the guests, go stretch those legs. Get that circulation going. Thanks for being with us, Harlan. This was really a joy, and I appreciate all the time that you've given us, and I wish you continued success with everything that you're doing, okay?
Thank you, Jim, and the same to you.
You take care. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Harlan Rector, extraordinary talent in so many different ways. And what a beautiful message he has, right? He understands the meaning of life and his relationship with God, his family, prolific talent in so many different ways. As a matter of fact, I have another little treat here that I want to share with you. We were sharing earlier this evening. If you missed it, if you missed this episode, just so you know, you can see all the episodes of the Jim Masters Show live right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Tell everybody you know about our incredible series we have here. We have done over 460 live episodes of this series, just about 7 days a week with guests from all walks of life, celebrity friends, and so many others. And we always have a good time, inspiring conversations, light, love, levity, entertainment, laughs, viewer interaction from around the world, and so much more. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, Jim Masters TV, and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our episodes and our pop-up shows. And also, if you enjoyed this episode, give it a thumbs up on our YouTube channel and leave a comment for us. We would love that. I do have another gift for you here of Harlan's incredible voice. This is some of the trailer work. Of course, that's like movie trailers, previews and promotion, things of that nature for movies. Again, the voice that's so recognizable in so many different areas. If you missed the commercials and the promos, things of that nature, just watch this episode again and you'll be able to hear them. Listen to this.
A mysterious neighbor holds a secret that is about to be unlocked. Based on the best-selling Goosebumps novels, Columbia Pictures invites you on an adventure so big, it will give you goosebumps. Goosebumps, coming soon. In a kingdom far away, strange tales are whispered of Maleficent.
Well.
The dark fairy who lives in the heart of the forest. She is a ruthless force to be reckoned with. Disney's Maleficent, coming to theaters May 30th, rated PG. From the magical world of Disney.
Tonight, let's have a kid.
You heard what the doctor said. Give it up.
What they got was a miracle.
Not everybody has these.
I came from the garden.
On August 15th,
I never thought I'd hear that laugh again.
The Odd Life of Timothy Green.
Patronum!
Some won't believe you. Others will oppose you. The best will join you. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This holiday season, history's greatest team is back.
How you doing, my man? All chalked up, ready to go?
And they're making new friends.
Welcome to the British Museum.
Right at the museum, Secret of the Tomb.
What's the name of your book? In Cold Blood.
The critics are calling Capote one of the best films of the year. Nominated for 4 Independent Spirit Awards, including Best Picture of the Year. Capote. Matt Saunders finally found the right girl. But now, he's got to break up.
Don't lie to me!
With the wrong one.
Make sure you break it off after you've had sex with her.
My super ex-girlfriend. Roger was a nice guy, going nowhere.
So you guys gonna play some tennis or something?
What gave it away?
Until he met a man.
Why did you sign up for this class?
Amanda.
Who could turn his life around.
How many of you are going to self-help book? You can't help yourself because yourself sucks.
From the director of Old School.
I saw you with Amanda.
School for Scoundrels. America is living.
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
In Spin.
Why, just the other day, they uncovered evidence that smoking can offset Parkinson's disease. That is...
We sell cigarettes. They're cool, available, and addictive. The job is almost done for us.
See the film Newsweek calls hilarious and gloriously politically incorrect. Thank you for smoking. Rated R. Welcome to Sunday night on the History Channel. The place where battles are won or lost. Where heroes struggle and honor is put to the test. This is Guts and Glory Sunday. There is a place where the achievements of the past fuel a commitment to the future, where the minds of today become the mentors of tomorrow. A place where every day is a world of discovery.
Halt! Yeah!
This is not that place.
Best time of my life!
The Big Bang Theory, Wednesday, starting at 8 on TBS. From Universal Pictures and Paramount Pictures.
Come here and give me a fucker sandwich.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Hey, you okay?
Yeah, it's just the usual Jack stuff.
Little fuckers.
That takes you back, right? And I'm sure you've heard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe all of those. An incredible voice, right? Wouldn't you say? I love that sound. Just a real talent, and it just flows out of him. And what's really great is when we have conversations like this, where now you got a little taste of the man behind the voice. Of course, a wonderful artist as well. He worked in advertising, a prolific author, as we can tell, an author with a really inspiring, deep message and bringing people together, which I love as a communicator and communal person and unifier as well. But now when you hear the voice, you've learned a little bit about the man behind the voice. Sometimes it's just a voice, an image, branding, and it's terrific. But now you get a feeling for the heart and soul of the man behind these voices. And it's something special we do here on the Jim Masters Show Live. So gang, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you were entertained. And Jen Barry mentioning all of the different things that she's hearing. You didn't realize all he did, right? I know. It's bringing back some cool things for you guys. Sherry, have a good night. And Ann in Jacksonville there. This was a wonderful show, Jim. Thank you. Good night, everyone. What a fantastic man, Sherry Larson says. I agree. A man with a message. And Kathy Short in Cleveland, Ohio says, thank you both for this amazing show tonight. Our pleasure. Again, the book that we referenced, and again, there are several, but you can always start off with I Matter. Finding meaning in your life at any age. Really, and that's volume 1. And really incredible. You do matter. We talk about it all the time. I say here on the show, it doesn't matter your religious views. It doesn't matter your political, leanings, if any. It doesn't matter your income, your zip code, height, weight, eye color, or anything else. Everybody is welcome to join us here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Our channel where we house this series, of course, is Jim Masters TV, which is a channel dedicated to entertaining, inspiring, educating, informing. Give it some levity, subscribe to it, and tell everybody about it. We would love that. As we always say on the show when we get ready to wrap up, don't forget to smile. Don't forget to really share and appreciate levity. And also find your Zen place. As I've mentioned often, growing up here in the Northeast, along the coast, and we just got through Hurricane Henri in fine shape, which was good. It was a blessing. The ocean is my Zen place. First, it's loving family and friends, as you can tell. Time with loving family and friends is always numero uno. Then I'm a cyclist. I love music. I love writing, tennis, baseball, gardening, all of the above. But the ocean, you got to pull me out of the ocean. I love swimming, surfing, boogie boarding, sailing it, floating in it, and just being near it, watching the sun rise and set in it. And my work, as you guys know, in television, radio, stage, and film over the years, also a very Zen place for me, on air, on camera, and behind the scenes as well. So find your Zen place and share it with the world. The world is waiting to hear from you. Check in quickly with some of our lovelies, and then we'll have a good night. And it was really a pleasure. Again, thank you very much for being with us, Sherry. We really appreciate that. You are the best, and Kathy as well. And Dana, it was great having you and your mom tuned in as well. My dad said to his father, would say, we allow can't. Thanks for sharing with us. I really appreciate you for being here, and your mom in the other room so quietly. You know what my father has always said with his Irish humor? Whenever anybody says something nice to you or they're complimenting you, please ask them to put it in writing and address it management. And I love that. You guys are the best. I just want to let you know that we do have a bevy of extraordinary guests coming up tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss. Live from Canada, we have platinum selling crooner and jazz vocalist Matt Dusk with us. That's right. This is exciting. I interviewed him on PBS actually a few years back. He's going to be with us live from Canada. He has sold millions of albums. He's a great guy, and he's going to be with us tomorrow, which is Wednesday Night Live at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I want to let you know as well, coming up next week, Dina Martin, dear friend, singer and actress, daughter of Hollywood legend Dean Martin, is going to be with us for a special episode. That is next Tuesday, which is the 31st of August. And that'll be at a special time, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. That's 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, live. Dina Martin is going to be here exclusively on the show, and we are so looking forward to it. That's next week. Want to let you know as well, upcoming next week too, Bruce Reisman, he is a renowned Hollywood film director, screenwriter, and producer. He's all excited. He's joining us. Kimberly Faye Greenberg, actress, Broadway expert. She's going to be with us here on the show as well. We have renowned singer and songwriter extraordinaire Connie Jackson with us on Saturday night, Saturday afternoon. You know him from the soap operas and so much more. Scott Bryce is going to be with us Saturday afternoon for a special Saturday afternoon episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. Coming up next week, R.A. Rivas, author of the Dark Times saga, The Black Forest, going to be with us as well. Also, actress and film producer Ashton Clay and musician and music producer Rich Adams are going to be with us next week as well. And of course, we're here just about every day with all of you on the Jim Masters Show Live. Thanks for being with us, everybody. We love you all. You guys are truly amazing. You're such a gift to all of us. And we thank you for your time. We thank you for all the wonderful comments that you leave on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. You can find me at Jim Masters TV at all of those locations. And we will be back tomorrow night with more of the same. Light, love, levity, good times, and great conversation, and terrific guest. Matt Dusk, live from Canada, tomorrow here on the Jim Masters Show Live. For all of us, you guys, you matter. And that was the theme of tonight's show. You're very welcome, Jane, where it's very late in Sweden, and you're still here. And Jen in Allentown, Pennsylvania, you're in bed, Jen, and you're zen. Night, night. Good to see you as well, and have a good night, everybody. We'll see you. You can see this episode again on our YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV if you missed it. Everything is archived and saved for you. For all of us here, have a great night. We love you all, And thanks for being with us on this episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. We'll see you tomorrow night.